friends, today is Monday, September 21st, 2020. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's mad bitcoins. The price of Bitcoin was down 4% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 10,453, a high of 11,000, and a low of 10,321. That's $1 for 9,579 Satoshis. Here are today's mad bits. Remember how the media is always blaming Bitcoin for money laundering? Remember how the media is always blaming Bitcoin for working with criminals, violating international sanctions, and then doing it again without showing even a modicum of remorse? Well, it turns out the Bitcoiners weren't the biggest criminals in the past 5 years. It was the bankers. Leaked documents from the United States Financial Crimes Enforcement Networks show that the banks have allowed criminals to move more than $2 trillion. Yes, that's right, 2 trillion with a T. $2 trillion worth of dirty money all over the world. They violated sanctions, they aided dictators, they helped mobsters, they broke the law even after they'd been fined and punished and told not to help evil people for money. And they did it anyway. Let's go straight to the BBC for the list. Take it away, Beeb!
HSBC allowed fraudsters to move millions of dollars of stolen money around the world, even after it learned from US investigators that the scheme was a scam. JP Morgan allowed a company to move more than $1 billion through a London account without even knowing who owned it. The bank later discovered the company might be owned by a mobster on the FBI's number 10 most wanted list. Evidence that one of Russian President Vladimir Putin's closest associates used Barclays Bank in London to avoid sanctions which were meant to stop him from using financial services in the West. Some of the cash was used to buy works of art. Ooh la la! The husband of a woman who's donated more than £1.7 million to the UK's governing Conservative Party was secretly funded by a Russian oligarch with close ties to President Putin. The UK is called a high-risk jurisdiction and compared to Cyprus by the Intelligence Division of FinCEN. That's because of the number of UK-registered companies that appear in the SARS. Over 3,000 UK companies are named in the FinCEN Files, more than any other country. The United Arab Emirates Central Bank failed to act on warnings about a local firm which was helping Iran evade sanctions. Deutsche Bank moved money launderers' dirty money for organized crime, terrorists, and drug traffickers. Standard Chartered moved cash for Arab banks for more than a decade after clients' accounts at the Jordanian bank had been used in funding terrorism. These crimes and more were committed by the banks over and over again. How do we know about it, you ask? Well, the banks are required to submit SARS, or Suspicious Activity Reports, to FinCEN, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, in the United States. The banks usually fall on the side of covering their own ass in these reports, as a failure to report is the same thing as a crime, leading to a backlog of these reports, which it looks like FinCEN never acted on or punished the banks for. But now, all of FinCEN's suspicious activity reports have leaked. So the public knows everything. Well, the public that reads and pays attention to major international news that they dropped on a Sunday. It's not like they're intentionally burying the story so that no one will read it, and the outright criminality of all of the major international banks won't have a lasting effect on our society's ability to trust banks and store our money there. By storing our money there, we give them immense powers that allow them to profit by loaning and controlling money flows all over the world. It's like we're empowering them to profit by dealing with the world's dictators, and in some cases, even directly financing terrorism. Yes, the banks make everything that's good in the world, and all for the low, low price of letting them create imaginary deposits and loan them back to you. Yes, it's a great and brilliant system that doesn't need to be reformed at all. In fact, I would say this story is clear evidence for a need of more deregulation. If only the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network in the United States didn't exist, then no one would know about the banks laundering more than $2 trillion! $2 trillion! That's 2 million millions. Yeah. Wouldn't it be better not to know? Wouldn't you prefer it if you could still trust banks as a safe place to store your money and get a free toaster? And not a place that's secretly financing terrorists, dictators, and mobsters all over the world simply because they value profits more than human lives? Wouldn't that be better? That's why we at Mad Bitcoin say, ban FinCEN. End financial crimes enforcement. Let the world be truly unregulated so that these thieves can rob us in total darkness and we'll never know anything about it. As Socrates said, the truth is knowing that you know nothing. Dude, that's us. If only we didn't have this dastardly financial regulation trying to protect the people from the elaborate and truly massive crimes of the banks, we'd know nothing. And then, maybe we'd be at peace. Until next time, this has been Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins. If you invest your tuppence wisely in the bank, safe and sound, soon that tuppence safely invested in the bank will compound, and you'll achieve that sense of conquest as your affluence expands in the hands of the directors who invest as propriety demands. You see, Michael, you'll be part of mobsters moving money, dictators evading sanctions, bribing governments and more, killing people with terrorism and plantations of ripening tea. All from tuppence invested prudently, fruitfully, frugally invested in the, to be specific, in the JP Morgan, HSBC, Barclays, Deutsche, Fidelity, Fiduciary Bank. You can trust them.